News Talk 989, the voice of the Oscoda River Valley and serving the Fork County area. Hi, it's Dirk Thompson, and welcome to a follow-up Citizen Roundtable reviewing what happened at the unbelievable Oscoda Township Board meeting tonight. Joining us this week, citizens acting out, taking a stand. Brian Haley, Jenn Kirch, who is unbelievable tonight. You've got to listen to her when you recap the meeting. And Debi, who also spoke tonight. Some of us weren't able to. We'll get into the discussion of that. Welcome to another News Talk 989 local Oscoda podcast. Wow, News Talk 989, Dirk Thompson Hunt here. And looking back at what we just saw this evening with the township board, and we're going to just deal specifically with public comment and how, let's see, Brian Haley's here. Jenn Kirch, who raised like the biggest ruckus and then the biggest like heartfelt compassion feelings at the beginning and the end of the meeting. But my gosh, guys, how many of us weren't? I was there from 15 minutes before 7, and they never, ever came to the phones for me to make a comment on the phone.
Sir, you're right. I was there, and that's, well, part of why I was throwing a fit.
Brian, you were locked out too, right?
Yeah, well, the thing of it is, I've been in on meetings twice a month for a year. And this is the first time I really had a real problem. I use the same system. I just call in, and maybe it was a glitch. But I could not get in on my wall phone or my cell phone. Every time I punch *6, I think *6 is now wore out. And the moderator.
Yeah, I got pissed after a while because sometimes they'll let you in.
The *6, all it could say was that they wouldn't let me in the meeting. You are muted. You cannot unmute. That's what it kept saying. So it's just one of those things on a list where I can't say that it's anyone's direct fault, but the coincidence of two phones, a cell phone and a wall phone, and I'm in on them the whole year, but then again, they got plausible deniability, of course, because of this hybrid form. And then I did note the supervisor kept saying, like, basically, we're doing you a favor to have Zooms. I want to remind the supervisor, and I'm sure she's a decent gal, but we pay for the Zooms. That's not coming out of your wallet. So that's us.
Well, I don't know, because this is now at least the second time in the last 3 months that I have had all my thoughts in a row, exactly what I wanted to say, so as not to take too much time from the board. Although, did you notice callers and commentators in person and online, not on the phone, took a lot of their time up?
Hey, Rick.
Hey, it's Rick. Hey, Rick.
Yes.
You got just
Rick and Debi?
Yeah, Rick wanted to just let you know we are recording this right now for a podcast tonight on News Talk 989. So this is being recorded and it's live, and we're not going to be able to edit it. So I just wanted to make you aware of that.
Understood.
And by the way, can everybody give a round of applause for Rick? He gets better and better every meeting for the past year. You know, Rick, you were almost as smooth as Jenn switching to nice NPR BBC news voice for News Talk 989.
Oh, you watch out now. The thing of it is, I've noticed since I've met you guys, we're all conservative, independent-minded. Nothing.
No, wrong. What wrong?
What? You're not conservative-minded?
No, Jenn, you want to speak up? Well, although I pushed her against the wall, and
I wasn't. Now you interrupted me. I wasn't talking political parties, Dirk. I was talking independent-minded people. That's what I'm talking about.
You said the word conservative, and I think Jenn might have an issue with that.
Well, I don't know.
No, because I have some. I'm very conservative in a lot of
Yeah.
ways. Just not like you're saying necessarily
Yeah.
politically, but
It was like
personally, I'm
a
very
sarcastic
conservative.
aside. There was no ill intent
But
spin anywhere.
now when
Completely understand.
you interrupted me though, I was going to say now they're going to put us all in one group, Dirk. So
No,
they gotta want,
no.
yeah. Now they're gonna try to say that this is some sort of group. And my finer point is I respect the individual on the earth, on the total earth, including America. And we're all individuals. There's nothing groupish here. We all have our own different opinions. You know what I mean? And it works.
Absolutely.
And I'm proud of that. So it's not about a political party, Dirk.
I never said it was.
Yeah, you were getting after me.
No,
I'm not a group.
I was just
I'm
not a group. Seriously, I was just trying to stop interrupting me. I was just trying to let you know, in case you didn't know already, that Jenn is a liberal and a Trump fan, not a Trump fan, but a Trump fan. And I don't think that's been clear to a lot of you online.
All the viewers out there, yes, I voted for Obama. Yes.
You know what?
Well, there you go.
I know. I heard a lot of you. Hey, but here's a real funny thing. Yesterday, I have hair issues. I'll just say that way. And sometimes I wear helper hair. And yesterday I decided for the podcast that was how my persona would be. So I put it all on and I grab the video and I call it Dirk and he grabs the video and he looks at me real funny like. I mean, he even kind of blushes a little bit, and I'm like, really? So we get talking later, and I said, yeah, that kind of threw you. And
well, I said with that Michigan kind of Nordic accent, and I was thinking a little bit of Sarah Palin, but she had her hair, brightened up.
Hey, can I say one,
he really thought I was Sarah.
I'd like to say one thing. I did have a spiel ready the first time I actually wrote everything out. And then I try to get in on these meetings, but I got to say now, Mr. Taser continues to put out a false narrative about the DNR trust fund, and he is inaccurate. He doesn't have his points straight and facts. Now, that's what I was going to talk about tonight. Now, when I get in touch with the DNR, being a civilian, understanding the chain of command, I went up as high as I could, and that would be Mr. John Mays. Now, he's superior to anyone that Taser and them have been talking to. And the reason I did that, I wanted to get as close to the DNR Trust Fund board without doing any damage to the town that we love. In other words, and that's why I did that. So my correspondence has been above what the planning group or the superintendent or anyone else has talked to the DNR. Miss Ross is a fine gal, but she's not in my chain of command loop. When I gain knowledge, when I do my research, I'm not looking for my answer. I'm looking for the truth. Now, I can tear apart Mr. Taser and his so-called logic tonight. There's no problem there. I wouldn't even need notes. He's inaccurate, and it's hurting the town, and we are doing harm now, presently, to the DNR Trust Fund in the stewardship clause, as you heard Mr. Holland kind of indicate. Larry's a pretty smart guy. I doubt he's dug right into it, but he's seen enough. And we are doing harm. There's no doubt about that. Now, when we do, what's going to happen, and this is what I was going to speak to tonight, so just give me 1 minute here on this, and this is very important. We have three examples. The town, the people, as Rick spoke to, the majority. No, we don't want anything there except park event space. We're going to grow around Fertile. We're going to develop it as a park as we always plan. The problem being is they're not recognizing the people's voice first is what we're talking about. And we are in the vast majority. But here's the kicker. And it's two examples. Renovar came forward. We know of the dirty dealings. Now, there's violations of the Open Meeting Act and law. They don't ever want to talk about that. Fine. We have all the documented information on that. In the end, though, Renovar told the board directly and Dickerson, hey, you don't have your act together. You don't even know what you people want. We do not take you seriously now. We are rescinding our order. Now you step forward a few months. That's a fact. We all have the letter from Renovar. So it's us telling the board, it's Renovar, the developer, telling the board, you don't have your act together. And then you triple down with Mr. Malik. When he came forward, hey, I guarantee you, he knew Furtaw was available. He didn't go for that. He went for the Lake Street property. And then what happened out of that? We get into that process. Then Miss Richards, I hate to say it, but it was a boneheaded move. She even wants to go back to Mr. Malik and say, hey, maybe try again. Don't worry about social media. Try again. What does Mr. Malik say? No, thank you. I know better. That's what he's telling us. You have the people and two downstate developers. The people here, two downstate developers, telling the board the same thing. So I don't know what we're supposed to do after that. I really don't. If they can't get that message, I mean, it's loud and clear. The people should have been enough. Developers, so let me end on this for this portion. Any developer that comes forth that wants to put anything on Furtaw is going to get met with 1,000 more % than Renovar felt or Mr. Malik felt, and that's the way it'll go. Now, who is to blame in this? The board, not the people. Not the people. The board.
Okay.
Will be to blame.
I only have a minute, so I'm going to talk real quick. Brian, can you hear me?
Yeah, sure.
You need to do some podcast.
I keep telling him to do the Brian show.
Okay, Dirk, let me talk.
But Brian, all right.
Yeah.
Brian,
I'm listening.
Brian, you are an excellent speaker.
Well,
You
know
can
what?
do this. You need to get on there and do podcasts and explain this stuff to the people.
Well, I got no problem with that. I will shave for the podcast. How's that, Dirk? I'll be looking tight and right.
Yeah,
We
you don't
will
even
call
have to
it
have your
the
face on.
No, he
Simply
doesn't have to
Information
shave.
Podcast.
You
Well,
don't-
you know what I
don't
will
even
do?
have-
Love it.
Well,
You
thanks.
don't even
And
have to have your face on there. Just
okay,
put
well,
your voice on there.
okay.
That's right.
You're like, what was that Paul Harvey guy?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, good day.
There you go.
Good day. Hey, you know what? Now you tickle the ivories, because I used to drive every day in one portion of my life, and I used to listen to Paul on the way home every night. I couldn't wait for it.
Working
You
at
have
the
lots
mini golf down there at Hunt's when I was a teen, we always played the station that had him on. So I just grew to love him from a teenager.
Yeah. Okay. So you
That's
got to
great.
get on there and do that.
Well, thanks, and we will, and I do that's very nice of you, and I will do that.
I'm serious. You are very excellent, and I'm not. Other people outside of our little group have told me.
Well,
So
and
they
we're
listen
also
to the
going to
meeting.
start the Debi podcast, too. You got to come
Oh,
up with
good
a
God.
great name.
Can we get back to my point, though? And I think it's for some security for you. You can go through these progressions, and the board has not. There's no developer, and I've talked to older people and younger people. You use empathy. You're a developer. Are you going to try to develop in this fine state when you know that people don't want you doing what you're trying to do?
Yeah.
That's right. That's right.
You got choices. This is a big state. You're a developer from Bloomfield. Oh, you're doing good. Fine. Man, there's over 1,500 communities in this state. It's a big state. You don't go against the grain with your money. It's as simple as, would you open up a donut shop in a place that you knew that everyone was on a diet and didn't want to buy donuts? You don't do it.
Yeah.
I mean,
Okay. I have to cut out real quick
All right.
here because
Thank you, Debbie. Thank you so
I gotta be up
much.
at
You are
5:30.
awesome tonight. Thank you.
Right.
hey, thanks,
Okay.
Debbie, and thanks for the nice words. That'll put me to sleep tonight. I'm not so mad at Ann, but that was terrible.
Yeah.
Whatever. Yeah.
Well, I'm
Well,
like
you
you,
can-
Brian.
you know what?
I spent a lot
Tomorrow.
of time getting my notes ready like you did tonight, and I'm very disappointed.
You can probably reach more people by putting it on Truly Oscoda.
It'll be everywhere.
I think
We're going
you're
to
right.
smear it
I think-
across the webs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry to interrupt you, Dirk. I think I'm going to call for a special meeting anyway. I'm just looking through stuff, and I don't care I don't even care if Taser and Dickerson want to come in. It don't matter to me.
Tell
They're gonna
folks
hear
about
it
the
one way or
special
the other.
meeting.
Okay.
We can. Yeah.
Well,
Go ahead.
I
You
got to run
tell.
because I got to get up early.
All right.
All right.
Thank you, Deb.
Thanks,
Bye.
Deb.
Bye-bye. Good night.
So is that like
Yeah,
an
I'm just-
official special meeting?
Yeah, we can call for a special meeting, and I'm going to look through everything on it. And, this is just ridiculous what they're doing. And all of us can if we try to chase and figure out how we got here, like I have thoughts, RRC, MEDC, and all they'll do is just play that off. They'll just play everything off. So, for me, I'm past the point of trying to figure out what they're doing and just starting to go after what they actually are doing. And it's ridiculous. I think we're just going to end up in court. It's unfortunate, but
Brian, was that the time that you heard that the school gave it to the township for commercial use only?
no, that's a false.
I want to
narrative.
see
Now,
that
there's-
document. I
now,
saw that. Rick.
we have
Absolutely.
that document. There's one line in there. You got to understand these documents. Okay, so the school, there's one line in there that it could be used for helping in economics in town. It's a throwaway line, Rick. There's nothing. It's just a line. In other words, when the township got the property from the school, there's nothing in that document that would tell the township what to do in any form, any way or shape or how. It's the township's property to do whatever, park, recreation space, or sell it, that too. But there's nothing in there, Rick. That's a false narrative. Sutton tried that on me in his
I
office.
know
It did
exactly
not
how
go
that works. I hate that. Period.
well. Yeah.
You got to go in.
You're
and
playing
use a Facebook
games.
scrubber and all that shit.
Yeah. The property's free and
I'm
clear,
sorry,
Rick.
I was not able to make any phone comments. They did not go to us, but I was going to compliment you guys on your production and putting all this together under short notice. Whoever was doing your switcher was good. Oh, I'm sorry. Did that pick up?
Yeah.
I just got a Facebook message from JD Chris Hawk from MIC TV because the YouTube live stream, when you posted that, the thumbnail said it was the wordsmith meeting, and so I made note of that just to don't pay. This is the board meeting. It's not the wordsmith meeting. So JD said, "Sir, we changed the thumbnail prior to the broadcast. However, YouTube didn't update it until after the live stream, but thanks for noticing." And see, that's a problem. Having done with YouTube, your thumbnails, if you update them, don't change it. And I said, I know exactly how that works. I hate it because then you have to use a Facebook scrubber. I was not able to make my phone comments because they didn't let us go in. But it was to compliment you guys on putting this all together under short notice, and whoever was switching your cameras did a great job. But then in my comments, I was then going to slam the $1,000 a meetings, and they didn't let me talk.
Nope, that's right. I did mention that in my letter, but they didn't even read my letter.
Did anybody find it strange that Bob Taser wants to get rid of Furtaw, except when he wants to use it as a possible back Rockfest?
Yeah, we all caught that.
Guys, and to see him last year when he told me face to face with his wife standing there, he was so smug about it.
I was
Because
gonna say in my comments, I was gonna say that it's interesting that Bob wants to take Rockfest away from downtown, which our downtown area needs. And the last Rockfest this summer, I saw the Dairy Queens and all the ice cream places just overrun because Rockfest brought so many people into our needy downtown area to support local businesses.
I see more capacity for economic growth for Oscoda, Michigan through Furtaw Field than anything from the EID offerings. There's more potential for economic growth as we develop it as a park and recreation place than there will be for anything he's offered. And his philosophy is wrong to begin with. Now, if you take the beginnings of a plan for Fertile, such as we're starting to put out now, we'll perfect that over the months. That in itself, once you perfect that plan, if you were to take that to 3D form and you were to push that to developers and say, hey, this is what we're going to do, and this is going to be our source funding, all developers would take that into account for our town as a positive thing, because the government's saying, this is Township Board saying, yeah, this is the direction we're going. We could sell that to developers so that they do want to buy around Fertile.
Yeah, like that whole
Fertile. And furthermore, just 1 second though, Dirk, when you understand, all right, the DNR in itself has a whole section for economic growth, that they believe in it. But what they want you to do is connect your parks and the philosophy. It's called Blue Ways, or the walkability of the town. Now, where Fertile is situated at, and when you have Lake Huron and you can walk the whole shore and you can walk to the beach park, that's another DNR. They've helped us. It's another DNR entity, if you will. We own the property, but the DNR is fully involved there with grant money. Now you score even higher in the granting process because of the connectivity of the parks and the walkability. It's all part of, you can look at the MEDC plan and you'll see sections in there, fine. But the grandfather of all the granting opportunities for parks and recreation is clearly the DNR. There's no one that comes close to that. And that's how we can grow this town, a great portion of it, plus look cool and have fun at the same time. And we want our kids in town. Our kids are 3 miles out of town or whatever, the schools. We look old. I want us to look young.
God wasn't tonight.
What's that, Rick?
I said, Todd, I didn't know he was there when I made that comment. But, I mean, I believe most of us went to almost all 3 of those meetings.
Yep. Did anybody see a report that came from that?
We
No.
all 3 of them for the most part.
That video I just posted of that July 27th Fertile meeting, Todd's in there saying, hey, if you guys say you don't want this, then we won't develop it.
Yeah. Yep.
You know what we could do is Taser, Fat Boy, excuse me, I don't want to be too derogative there, Dirk. Bleep that out.
Well,
but,
I like going to big boy restaurants. I think you were talking about when we were at Big Boy having some.
Yeah. All right, Tubby. All right, now he's got his own.
Tubby Subs. Remember when we ate at Tubby Subs down in Livonia? Yeah. That was great.
Yeah, his philosophy on things, his logic on things is just pretty much whack as far as I'm concerned, as far as making money for the town. I really don't think he knows half of what he's talking about. I can see his research is just poor on the DNR.
He's condescending.
He doesn't. Well, he's got a narrow-minded view, and he wants his end results. So him and Dickerson's the same way. They're both just the same way, and they're going to follow. And people need to understand in this town, it's not a over-the-top statement. All Dickerson and Taser really are going to do is anything that comes through the MEDC or the RRC, they will bow down and kiss their butt and sign off on it. And they don't even know what they're signing off on. They really don't know. They're just going to sign off on it. Whether it's an art mural or what else did we have going? Was Host part of that? I don't even.
Host was $12,000. The mural was $10,000, and then $4,000 for signs. You put all those and $23 for MIC TV. That's like 2 to 3 basketball courts that are state of the art on the beach.
Yeah, and then you got that banner and the art thing. That's MEDC. No, let me make a correction because he'll jump all over it. I don't think host was part of RRC. It was just another.
Oh, I was just talking in terms of money they throw away that could
Yeah.
be spent to
Oh, yeah.
really affect
Gotcha.
people.
Yeah, well, I said RRC with host, and that seemed to get Dickerson going. It's not RRC. Well, whatever. It's an outside program that if they're good, Todd, we'd accept them. And if they're bad, Todd, the answer is no. And why are you bringing us crap in the first place? How's
I've
that?
got a whole rant from Taser at a meeting months ago where he's mentioning RRC and MD and all of that stuff out of his own mouth. That's all this is focused on is check off the boxes.
That's what he follows. See, he's always saying that. Follow the plan. Follow the plan. He sounds like that tattoo on whatever, not Gilligan's Island Fantasy.
The plan.
And that's it. And I was like, you know what? Here's the real deal. And I had this talk with him and Palmer years back when they were trying to sign us up to this stuff. I said, man, this is getting back to it, Dirk. We're an independent-minded town. We're not going to be, not the party, independent-minded. That's what I appreciate. We're individuals. And the cats around here, the majority, we're not here to be told what to do. We know what to do. We just haven't done it yet. Part of that is FERTA. Can anyone logically try to tell us that FERTA has held the town back? It stopped Todd Dickerson from doing his job? FERTA has done that? Really?
Stopping the use of FERTA.
Let's get straight now. Yeah. Now, and then you got the other side of it. Well, why don't we develop, let's keep it in the 5-year plan. Oh, no, you might scare off developers.
Exactly. That's the point.
That was hogwash.
It was sickening to have to listen to that. Here's the deal for Taser, Tubby, and Dickerson. What we're going to do is you're not going to be able to sell that park. I don't care how ugly it gets for you. It's not going to get ugly for us. We're not going to get all mad or just lose sleep over it. No, you're not going to be able to sell it. No developer is going to want it. And then you're going to have to backtrack, try to re-enter it into the 5-year plan. You're going to do harm to our credibility as the stewards of parks because they're going to look at it. These are serious folks. They're college educated at DNR, spoken with them, and they're going to look at it and say, well, you really don't know what the hell you're doing, do you? Why don't we wait a few years, you get your credibility back, and then, maybe we'll listen to you. Yeah. Isn't that beautiful? That's the way they look at things. Yeah. So these guys aren't too bright. They're not going to be able to sell it. No developer is going to buy it. I wouldn't. I don't care if I had $10 million in the bank. If I had a notion of trying to develop something the majority of the people didn't want, am I nuts? I'm not going to put money towards that.
Really, that they brought up and they did on.
Yeah, it's breaking up, Rick.
Yeah, I couldn't hear that.
It broke up, Rick.
When they were talking about survey, they were saying Beckett and Rader, but somebody brought up that there was only 4% of the population that responded to that. Was that survey the one that was on Facebook that you clicked on what you wanted?
Yeah, but also you got to understand now they won't release us the final results of the survey. What they did is, I believe Nicole put some sort of summary words to the over 300 that did apply or did fill out the survey. For me, okay, I remember the survey, and I wrote in there many a times what we should do with FERTA. I'm not alone. There were plenty of places to write in there your thoughts. You remember the survey?
Yep.
I wrote in every space to save our green spaces.
I bet you. I bet you it's all there. They won't release it. I've been asking for 2 weeks. So now there's another for you. See? And I guarantee you, Rick, I'm glad you're feeling better, but big boy down there, Josh, they are all kind of big over the belt, aren't they? Anyway, I think we're wearing them out with the FOIAs now.
I love it. I was just going to say we need to do another FOIA for the results from that survey.
That's what I've asked kindly, Ann wants us all to be nice, so you play the game even though you know better. I mean, it gets old going around the circles, so you do play the game. And as I get older, I even try to be a little bit nicer, but sometimes, but no, we want that information. I bet you there's 100 people that wrote some stuff in there, or 50, 75, or whatever.
What about the pavilion meetings that we all went to that was specifically to get citizens' input specifically on FERTA?
But then they ignored it.
Well, they said today that the turnout wasn't enough. That, what did they say? 5% or whatever they cited, that wasn't important enough. And I found that offensive. I really found that offensive.
What's really difficult with that is that with that comment that they made is that room wouldn't have held many more people. So how could they say that wasn't a big enough turnout?
Well, here's how, and I'm glad you brought it up. And this is important. So the last survey, now I was here. All right. I'm in Bob Stalker's office. And I want that, this is in 2017. And Bob's, of course, our superintendent. Now, back then, no matter what anyone says, we had honesty going on. Now, what we did was Spicer ran the survey. But we advertised for that survey in the Oscoda Press in the first section next to the editorial page. And how do I know that? Because I asked Bob to do it. Guess what our response to that survey was? And it was a long survey. 925 responses. That's how you get a survey done. It was 6 weeks in a row that we advertised we were going to have this survey. We weren't even big league on this Facebook stuff or nothing. Get that? We just utilized the newspaper, and it was word of mouth, and you got 925 responses. 86% of them want our parks developed. It's in that survey. So how Nicole and this present group did it was the opposite of that, Rick. It was all for show. It was hardly in the newspaper. It was barely on these Facebook pages, and you noticed it. And guess what? You got the response that you got. And then the timing. Now, when you look at this 5-year thing, they spread it out every 5 years. Actually, they wanted us to start this process. Here's their guidance from the DNR. Start it within the year. Within the year. In other words, we should have started that process 6 months ago, bare minimum. And we did not do that. We have falsehoods among us. We have false words, and that's what they're doing. They're doing double talk. Mr. Taser was a part of it. Big league tonight. He's a part of double talk. Yeah. These are not straightforward people.
Right. Well, else.
Well, what else is going on, guys?
Township board,
well, when you ask about those arches that they want to put up, correct me if I'm wrong, was that $80,000?
Yeah, and here's the thing. Okay. So you say you want an arch. I won't even say I'm against the arch, so I want to stay out of that. In today's world, now I've listened to some of their conversations. They're already spending money on this planning part. Now, this is what you do in today's world. You get one of those computer whizzes, Andy, young guy out there at P&L, out on the base, old base. Now, he can put together a 3D rendering wherever you want an arch. You want an arch here, you want an arch there, you want an arch everywhere, right? He can lay that out so that we all have a visual, and it wouldn't cost us that much money to look at that, because that's the end result anyway, right, is the visual. But no, watch how they're going to do this, though. And I haven't looked into it that much, but I've been around a little bit. There's going to be monies coming out of this township for all that planning. All the planning, where could it be? How about the foundation of it? This and that and the other. They're going to go through all of that, and they're going to spend those monies. But the most critical thing is the look of the arch and where would you want it? Well, here in today's world with this computerization and a skill set of a young guy like Andy or anyone else, for minimal cost, we could have that visualization anywhere you wanted it. We just put it there. Then they could make a decision, right?
I agree.
They're going to spend tens of thousands of dollars in this process, and they won't even know if they want it or not. Jump ahead,
I was
show the
told
vision.
it's tied to that. What do we talk about? The RRC.
Yes,
That arch is tied to that, and
it is.
Yes.
The money goes round robin, is what it does. And each one in that circle is going to graft off a little bit of money. And it won't be illegal. It's just the way they're doing it. But your end result is going to be the visual. We look at a visual, I like that, I don't like that, or somewhere in between.
Yep.
But why spend all the money when you know that those people on the planning commission are not, well, I don't want to be too negative here. Their end result on their decision, okay, we're going to do this, is going to be on the visual in the end. So show the visual now, and maybe enough of them will say, maybe not at this time. It's really not worth all this expenditure. But they don't do that. I'm older than a lot of some people nowadays, and I'm not all jiggy with the computerization deal, but I know it's there. And if I had a chance 30 years ago to put out a visual by pushing buttons or get with an expert and I could have a visual, hell yeah, I'd go down that road before I started spending money trying to find out.
Yep. That's what anybody does with their own money.
Jeez, you would, every day. What are you going to say to someone? Yeah, here's some money. Design me a plan. And the plan comes back, and then what? I'm going to judge it if I like it or not? Is that
Do you know what they say when you say, I'll give you some money? The first thing they say is, how much?
Yeah. They'll spend a ton of money on this, and it was just like Rick has brought up a survey, but they, just like a few years back on 18 when they thought they were going to move a building there. Now, Fertile was fully engulfed in the 5-year Parks and Recreation Plan, so they never even should have had that thought because you couldn't do that because that's not supported through the DNR. A government building is not. Everything else also has to be Parks and Recreation. But anyway, they try to advance the football, illegally is what they do.
Now, there were two surveys. There was one that was, back in 2018 or 19, we spent thousands of dollars on, and then there was a more recent one, right?
Well, yeah, you're right, Dirk. Now, in 18, I have all of those documents. That's when I really started paying attention, was in 18.
Yeah.
I have all the documents, and I'm not going to say anything negative about Roe, but we spent $21,000 with Roe. They actually physically surveyed the property, and for some reason in this process this year, whatever you're citing, or last year, they had to go back and they're looking at the documents. So there was some whatever, they had some things they had to clean up.
Well, there were survey numbers in that one back then that clearly showed the people wanted parks developed, and I think Fertile was mentioned specifically.
Oh, you're talking, well, when we talk surveys, I'm talking a physical measuring survey was done on Fertile in 18.
Okay.
All right. Now, the other part that you're talking about, yeah, we just discussed that. If you go into the this new 5-year plan hasn't been enacted yet. It has to go through a process with the DNR yet. But the present 5-year plan that we're under, that survey that we talked about, maybe Dirk wasn't here when I was talking about. Now, that was done by Spicer Group out of Bay City, a fine group, and they did a great survey of our opinion. And like I said, we had over 925 responses. 86% wanted more development in our parks, and then they break it down in their logic about it. And certainly Fertile was represented there, right in there. In fact, it was represented with a higher priority listing of an action item than Van Etten, than Ratliff.
Really?
Yeah, and we've never Palmer also lied to this community. Now, I'll use the proper word lie because he did it 5 times. Now, the reason I made him repeat it 5 times is because I understand the legal system. And I wanted him at a board meeting to keep repeating that same dang lie. And that's all a part of this because that extends, there's a statute of limitations on the violations of the Open Meeting Act. So what I did is extended it. So we gained another year. Actually, the last time I think he said it was about 6 weeks ago. So these guys are so naive. They think they're smart. So now when I'm looking at things now, it's not too hard to figure out a guy that's trying to do wrong things if good people pay attention. A lot of times we're not. But the whole deal is just the double talk. The confusion in this town is just off the charts. I really haven't seen anything like it.
Where's
Never.
Tim? Meeting? The superintendent?
What's that now?
Me at that meeting tonight?
Yeah.
I see.
Yeah, kind of breaking up, Rick.
I said that lady from the zoning kind of seemed to be running it tonight.
Oh, the planning director?
Zoning director, I think.
Yeah, that's her title, I guess, planning and zoning director.
I will tell you one thing. It was nice to see Ann have more control of the meeting without having to worry about fucking Zoom, because I honestly, with as crazy as some things were, she led the meeting like I haven't seen her since she has not run Zoom. But I think that was a big distraction to her.
I mean, you bring up a great point, and here's the thing. So you had the supervisor trying to run meetings and be a part of the meeting. So I don't understand in today's world why the clerk is actually trying to take notes.
Well, he doesn't do a good job.
Well, I know, but you can have some fun with that. I'm talking in general. Why the clerk actually has to take notes when they should be a participant in the meeting. And I certainly don't understand, and it happened again tonight. All right. If there's any problem with the Treasury or the Clerk's Department, I'll never figure out why they just can't handle those things during the week, and we don't have to hear all that, because in the end, we get audited every year. If there's ever any problem with anything, it's going to be flushed out. We spend a lot of money on those audits. So I don't understand in the interim as trustees, why don't you just get with, in this case, Jamie, and ask her about this and that and the other. And I know the girl, she's going to either that day or that minute or the next day, you're going to have an answer.
Yeah.
So why do you keep bringing it up at board meetings? I don't get that. And plus, here's the thing. Jamie can stick up for herself. I don't care if it was a 6 foot tall, 300-pound treasurer we had. Dude, the thing of it is you put that position on the defensive when we as citizens actually want the treasurer involved in the board meetings. So you put him on the defensive. Why?
Yeah, we started that a couple when they were challenging her on everything.
Yeah. It's not even anything to do with feelings. Just, hey, Rick, if you got a mechanic and he's working on your engine, you going to go up and keep interrupting him?
Right.
Oh, you know what I mean? You don't do it. But this is the position, So then you got a board member. Maybe you want her more involved with the meetings. Well, next thing you know, guys, especially Palmer, he just loves doing it. And then you bring up these intricate questions, which are fine, Palmer. But you don't have to do it on camera and take up the whole time of the meeting. And plus, again, put the person on defensive where now she's not engaged in the meeting as she should be. She's trying to rack her brain or whatever and figure out what this guy wants, right? You're not involved in the meeting then, not like the others. The trustees can just sit back with no responsibilities, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
banners, where they're going to go at yet?
What was that? 3 months
The
ago?
banners are 21 of them art banners, and they're supposed to go in the art district. I'm not entirely certain if I have my brain wrapped around where the art district is. I'm a little concerned that 21 of these rather large, I don't know, if we actually have the dimensions of these things. I'm not against art. I'm an artist,
Yeah.
Please, so don't get me wrong. I don't want to be like throwing things over abandoned buildings and stuff in the city and trying to make it look better like that. You guys, you know what I'm saying? I'm not sure this is Oscoda's all that artsy fartsy for this. Who's going to go see it? I mean, I'm not trying to be Debbie Downer or a Karen or anything. I'm really not.
I don't think we have enough spaces for 21 of them.
That's kind of what I'm thinking. Like okay, so I was out at Ferris State this year, and that's a lot bigger than Oscoda, guys.
Oh, yeah.
And they had this great little, because it's a college town, they're the Bulldogs, and stores and businesses could buy these like good size Bulldogs outside of their businesses, and they could decorate them differently, and it was cute. And I thought, okay, I could see something maybe along that line with the owls and the eagles here,
They do that in Louisville. They do that in Louisville with horses. And they're all decorated differently, and they're in different locations throughout town. Our town isn't big enough. Obviously, we don't compete with the Louisville.
Right, and that's what I'm afraid of, is they have these really big ideas that I'm not saying they're not good ideas. I just don't think they're the right ideas for Oscoda. I really, really don't.
Yeah, I agree with you. And I've always had a problem, not as hardline as they used to be, but when you keep conflating art, and I love art, but when you keep conflating with government, I don't know. I'm a little leery of that. Not that we can't help.
What's really sad is art has been confused with politics. It really pisses me off.
Yeah. Well, we're going to be spending some money on it, and they're going to keep doing it because it's RRC certified. So. First time I heard Dickerson mention RRC tonight in a while.
Oh, you're right. He did.
They've been laying off. I thought we were supposed to be all approved last month, but maybe I was wrong.
Boy, Todd looked bad tonight, didn't he?
You sure did.
Well, he's a little under the weather.
Better. He definitely.
Well, I pray that he doesn't have the COVID. That's all I can say.
Oh, yeah. Well, we don't want anyone getting that. Not even, I've never even, I don't think I've been over, I know when I'm mad. I've never been mad at Todd, is because I look at things logically, and actually I hold the board responsible.
I want to say that, Jen, you and Deb brought up the Dickerson issue very, very well.
Oh, yeah. I loved it. He deserves everything he's getting. Don't get me wrong on that. He deserves everything he's getting. But as far as me and holding people, as they always say, accountable, I hold the board members accountable. I hold those 4 trustees accountable. They should have straightened him out long ago.
Exactly.
He's leading them, and that's where I have a problem. It's these ideas that just aren't.
Yeah.
Well, there you go.
I'm not so sure he's doing as much of it as he used to, especially since the Hammerhead.
Yeah, he kind of neutered himself, didn't he?
Was it Jen?
Yep.
Jen, was it you or was it Deb that went into basically how frightening it is that they're not doing anything?
Well, I brought up to them, you're sitting there just looking like you're in a shooting squad. You're not engaged. You're not really caring. You just kind of like going through the motions, and that's sad. if you can't make them care at a core level, there's not a lot of hope.
I'm sorry. What really bothered me is, as people were speaking, they didn't pay any attention. They didn't even look like they were listening.
Oh,
Well,
really?
that's what I'm referencing. Yep.
Yep.
Oh.
You don't just stare at the table or look at your notes while people are talking. You're supposed to acknowledge at least that you're listening.
To be honest, they've got their devices sitting there, their laptops or whatnot. I'm not sure I have their undivided attention.
Correct.
Oh, that's
Now,
interesting.
in their support, I will say they're not seeing the video of Zoom. They're just listening to the audio. So it may be that they're not, I don't know what you really want them to look at, but at times,
Do you
even if
think-
they were just listening, it did seem like they weren't paying attention.
Do you think that they were looking at the people who actually spoke?
No, I don't think they can see the Zoom, which is
No,
why.
I mean the in-person speakers.
Oh, you know what? During those time periods, I don't think I was watching. Were they keeping their heads down while people in the building were speaking?
That's a tough one to tell because the
It
majority
depends
of the
who
time
was
the
up there.
camera's on. Well, and the majority of the time the camera is on that person speaking.
Right.
But even a few times, well, maybe it was when you guys were speaking. I can't remember the specifics, but I remember thinking that whoever was speaking, they were not giving any eye contact to.
Gotcha.
And that bothered me. It tells me that we're not important.
Well,
Yeah.
obviously, for what's going on 3 years, they just do not understand we don't want them to sell Fertile in any way possible. It's like they keep thinking they can keep beating us over the head and we'll go away.
Yep. I think you're right. That's what they're counting on.
Well, we only gotten stronger though, and that's my whole point when I was saying to you guys earlier. In 18, the people stood up. Well, we're stronger now than we were in 18. When Runavar deal came along, it surprised the hell out of me. I was heading out to go ice fish. And I got a little note there that it's for sale. I had been following things, and I see land for sale up on the computer. And then I started digging in, and we uncovered Runavar. We got lucky there. And that wasn't just because of me, but they did illegal things, and that's what scared off Runavar. And like I said, you got Malik coming around, but he knew better. So there's no way that they're going to be able to sell that part because we're land rich here. Todd telling you out at did you hear the conversation about the cemetery? We got so much land, they don't even know what they've got. So you can't tell me we're Birmingham, Michigan, where you can't find a lot to build a building on. Come on, look around. They sure are silly.
Land rich, Oscoda's loaded in it.
I got to go to the grocery store.
I did have to love how Larry went after them on how easy it was to figure out where a cemetery can be.
Well, here's the real deal on that. Now, I do know some things.
Now remember, you're part of the live podcast right now. I just wanted to re-emphasize that to people.
Yeah. As long as you slice and dice me properly, I got no problem, Dirk. Hey, when you look at our cemetery, or you look at the fence, when you're entering our cemetery, Pinecrest, that fence line that you're looking at when you first enter runs north and south. So you look to your right, it goes north. I'll give you a reference point. Now, if you look straight ahead then, when you're entering, and you look over to the left about the halfway point, you'll see the formation of a gate. And that's heading due west. That's where it's lined up for our expansion of our cemetery. Now, anyone can see it. You just look a little bit. Now, that's U.S. Forest Service land behind there that is now in Asable's hands. Asable is a part of our cemetery as well as Oscoda. We have shared bills, shared services. There is where the cemetery expansion will be, and we're going to need about 10 acres. 10 acres will cover us for a couple of 100 years. So the ignorant say, I'm using a harsh word, but they are ignorant and they should know more. But that's the design of it. It's working. So what we're going to have to do, Oscoda and Asable will have to put forth some money for 10 acres, and there's all pines there. And this is right adjacent to McQuaid. But it's not a part of the ball fields or anything. It's right in that area, though. But it will be connected with our present cemetery, which I believe can be a historic cemetery one day, which will really help in the upkeep of it. The cemeteries are looked at in a historical fashion, especially the ones that old. I can barely hear you.
What is it? The Catholic cemetery right there too?
Yeah, as you're going into the formal entrance, if you look to your right, that's all Catholic. So they divided them up back then for whatever reason. And if you look to the left, that's all us, the rest of us.
Protestants.
Yeah, whatever we are.
Yeah, the Catholics and the Protestants, they weren't able to mix
Well,
so well.
the Protestants got their name from protest. So, yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd say
Wasn't it Martin Luther that protested with
Yep.
the documents on the church door?
Yep. And King was named after him.
Oh. Yeah,
Well,
but that's
I mean, while we're talking about the cemeteries, was it not Jamie with the local heart that came through to make sure that it was at least mentioned and brought up? You got to appreciate that.
You do, and here's the thing, the little guy there, Palmer, he's on the cemetery committee, and I asked him to come out to that cemetery so I could explain some things to him, and he wouldn't even budge.
Well, it's just like I think Todd's never walked the town and like talked with people.
But then you got the guy, what was it, the Larry guy, God bless him, sitting in the audience, actually Googling cemeteries at the...
Well, God bless Larry. It's
And I'm
interesting he's
thinking,
been having
man,
trouble
he's
with
got some
FOIA
guts, 'cause
accounts.
if I did that...
Yeah, that was pretty
that.
good. Yeah, I was going to give the punchline to the board, but they wouldn't let me in on their meeting. But yeah, that's U.S. Forest Service land. I've been in contact with the Forest Service. Everything I told you is correct. So what we would do is we'd have to put up some money for 10 acres there. But what the Forest Service does, then they would relinquish that land to us for cemetery, which is proper. They've already, we all have all the language on that. And then they would simply buy 10 more acres somewhere else around the state. The U.S. Forest Service actually has a real estate office.
Really?
Out of Cadillac.
Huh.
Yeah.
Didn't know that.
That's what I mean. I don't expect them to know everything, but they're not doing their homework.
Well, it sounds like Larry,
You're not the only one.
back to Larry, it sounds like Larry has a bunch of FOIA requests that aren't being dealt with correctly, just like I've experienced.
Yeah, it's good. And, Josh is going to have to earn his potatoes. I don't think he's going to be able to pull it off. I just don't. There's going to be too much for him.
And they have to bring in a tent.
Yeah. Well, we'll get a subcommittee.
Hey, guys, I want to wrap this up so I can get it posted really quick.
Well, thanks for all your help, Dirk. And I really tried to get on the meeting, guys, about 50 times.
I know. There's a whole bunch
that
of
was
issues with that. It's like sad.
Just so you know, I messaged Jamie and Ann.
Good.
It was short and
Good.
sweet. Tried to get on your board meeting. Tried my wall phone and my cell phone, and I left it at that.
I texted Josh right at the end. I said, Josh, they haven't gone to phone calls, but it was too late.
Yeah. Well, like I say, when you're dealing with cats like this, and this is from prior training, as long as they have something called, modern terms, plausible deniability, they will utilize it. And it's as simple as that. Oh, there was a glitch. Oh, he was joking. Hammerhead, right? He was joking. That's one heck of a joke.
It's almost sad.
Yeah. Hey,
It was an insulting joke.
maybe we should get you take that one, the one that mem I put up with him at the bar. Kind of looks like him. Why can't we imprint a hammerhead shark? You look at his one hand; it looks like he's drawing a gun on his right hand.
Hey,
But
why
his
don't we
left
make
is-
T-shirts
put
with
a
that
hammerhead.
graphic on it?
What's that?
Make a T-shirt.
Well, you could have that.
I buy
Then
one.
talking to Sergeant Schultz, right?
Have a big shark with a gun on its waist.
Now, you said that earlier, Dirk. Sergeant Schultz to me today.
Oh,
I
yeah.
know nothing. That's a good one. I know nothing.
I love
I
him.
downloaded 5 of those clips from YouTube to put together that little montage you were talking about. I know
Did you really?
nothing. I see nothing.
Yeah.
I know nothing.
Yeah. So they think they advanced the ball tonight by muting us. Really?
Yeah.
Like I said, I don't see any developer putting forth a good money chasing back. I just don't see it.
Now, to be
I really
fair,
don't.
they might claim operator error, which, you know, with MIC TV just getting underway and they're running the Zoom this time, you know, they're
Sure.
they may have, what is it, deniability or something you just said?
Plausible
There you
deniability.
go.
But understand that would be from a wall phone and a cell phone.
Yep.
Okay,
Yeah.
so right from
What are the
one
odds?
person.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then you also have the ones calling in so nicely. Oh, the communications are fine. I'm getting through perfectly. Right.
Yeah. And the fact they didn't even solicit phone callers right there just shows.
Yeah, I could have get on 3 times tonight, and Taser and them are well prepared. And I would say the Tubby one. Now, I think he went over 4 minutes, didn't he?
I think he spoke twice, and he must have consumed 10 minutes. I'm going to time it out. And that was when in one public comment section, and then he spoke at the end for like another 4. I think the timer went off on him on that one.
Yeah. And the problem with it, like I said, he could never handle a debate with me on the DNR subject. And really, that's wrong. They should be teaching us about the DNR trust fund.
That's correct.
I shouldn't. I don't mind looking into stuff, but I'm just telling you, they should be teaching us.
And if they don't know, they should be inviting those people to a meeting.
Well, there you go. I asked the board to ask to get a DNR rep to come up and at the Warrior that Rick talks about, and they wouldn't even bother to do that. We
Nope.
could have done that, you know. But they did not.
All right, guys. Well, the News Talk 989 roundtable wrap up of once again another unbelievable Oscoda Township Board meeting. Every board meeting just has a whole bunch of little surprises, doesn't it, folks?
Well, you should have enough material going for quite a while now,
There we
don't you?
go.
It is kind of hard to keep up with it, though, isn't it?
It is. It is.
Yeah, but we'll just keep doing what we're doing. Good job, Jen.
Good job, everyone.
All right.
All
Good
right.
night, guys.
Yes, everybody.
Well, I couldn't